What up, cultlings, and happy Friday. It's your host, Ashley. Today we have an amazing interview with a good friend of mine and the podcast, Shelly-Snow-Pordea. I really hope you guys enjoy it. But before we jump into that, I have a couple very exciting announcements. Last month on the Patreon, we did a special where if you signed up at $10 or above, or bumped up your level to any higher level, if you're an existing patron, people got a insulated thermal tumbler. It's super awesome. So thank you guys, everybody so much who signed up in April. Definitely appreciate the shit out of you guys. And guess what? We have another special for May 2024 for anybody listening in the past. This month, if you sign up at any level on Patreon for a year, which you also get a 15% discount, you get a free TSFU water bottle. You guys, it's a nice one. It's BPA free. It's branded. It's good. So sign up at any level for an annual subscription, and you'll get 15% off and a free water bottle. And that is at patreon.com/TSFU. Also, I have a very big announcement. And just to let you guys know, another perk of being a patron is that they got access to this news about a couple weeks early and a discount. We will be having our first annual listener retreat this year in Colorado. It's going to be in September, you guys, September 12th through September 16th. It's going to be in a gorgeous mansion in Colorado Springs. We're going to go to a concert. We're going to do private yoga on the deck. We're going to go to Garden of the Gods and see the beauty of Colorado. I'm going to put a link to that, which we have our PDF for the whole thing on the website, tsfupodcast.com. And like I said, I'll also put a link so that you can go to our website and check out the full itinerary, and then email me at tsfupodcast@gmail.com, or just hit the contact button on our website and let me know if you're interested. And we've got about 6 out of 8 spots left. Definitely need to sign up soon if you're into it. So hope you guys are excited as I am about all of that. Enjoy this episode. Have a great weekend. And we will be back next week with our regular scheduled programming.
That is so fucked up. It's fucked up. So fucked up. It is just so damn fucked up. That's fucked up.
Oh, I hate a hard open. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the. It just feels so unnatural. It's like I press start, and then my brain's like, what do you say? Here's what we say. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is That's So Fucked Up, a respectful comedy podcast about cults, crime, and other things that make you say, ugh, that's so fucked up. Like the Christian patriarchy, etc., you know? And we now are starting kind of a new segment because you guys know we fucking love a segment and we just can't not come out with new ones. So as you know, some of our content has now moved over to the Patreon. If you guys love That's So Fucked Up Presents and you love Ash Loves the Bible and you're missing it, you can go to patreon.com/TSFU, and that's where, all of the Bible stuff lives, as well as half of all Presents episodes from April moving forward. So, we moved some content over to the Patreon, and I just can't leave you guys hanging with not new content. I'm like, well, come over for that content, but I'm still going to bring you some more content because I love you guys and I love Shelly and I love what we've got going on. We're going to start doing an awesome authors segment, and that's not really the name. It's a work in progress. I know that the authors I have lined up are really awesome. Oh, it's early. But basically, I have had the pleasure of getting to know some incredible people who are also writing books, which is researching, just one thing that's like 10 pages and not super highly edited is stressful for me. So people writing books, such as my friend Shelly, who we're about to introduce, is like, man, it's wild. So you guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Ashley Love Richards, and today we are kicking off our new author interview segment where we're going to be talking to amazing people who have recently written books or are in the middle of writing them or have written them in the past. And I think Shelly is maybe like doing all three of those.
All of the above.
All of those. So you guys, please welcome to the show, Shelly-Snow-Pordea. Hi, Shelly.
Hi. Hi. It's so good to see you again.
You too.
Your hair is a little bluer than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, it looks great. It's very like metal this morning. I just got out of bed and it's a lot happening. But yeah, I think it helps my mental health. Like when things are a little bit vibrant,
Yes.
It'll start getting dull and then I'll notice a little like retouch and I'm like, oh, I feel a little spunkier, a little more
brighter
spunk in my step. Or
yes, I love
spunk. I don't know. But whatever. My hair, whatever. Shelly, hi.
Hi.
Tell everybody about who you are. And your hair's brown, but
it is brown. Yeah, just boring brown.
But it's gorgeous. I mean,
thank you.
It's lovely.
We were one of the rules growing up was that we were not allowed to have any unnatural hair colors.
I think you should
just
have,
so you know,
the rainbow hair then now. You should just do all the colors.
That should be like my rebellious streak coming out. No. So my name is Shelly-Snow-Pordea. I am a novelist and a screenwriter. I am a publishing coach. And I was born and raised in the Independent Fundamental Baptist world, or the IFB. And now I write books. So
because
here I am.
Because you had such a good experience growing up in the IFB. Oh. It inspired you to just write all the praises.
Well, I have to say, though, that we did read a lot. My family was, my dad was really well read. And so, like, some of the history of the movement, it was kind of coming to be what it became when my dad was a teenager and, like, morphed into this big cult. When I was, a young child. And so he was traditionally educated before he went to the seminary and like he just loved to read. Whereas like so many of the people who like started to join the movement, banned like reading and most books, most classic literature. But I grew up with it. And so my love for reading and, we weren't allowed to do anything else. So I guess it did help. It did help.
And we are using movement interchangeably with coercive cult, right?
Yes, absolutely. But it was this like big movement. And when I was, I think the year I was born, maybe the year before or after, like Time magazine featured our cult leader.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was seen as just this like evangelical type movement that was taking the nation by storm. And so it was seen a lot as a movement, and I kind of like reference that because my childhood, I was born in the 70s, so 70s and 80s, like growing up, it was like becoming a thing, and it felt like a movement,
Yeah.
So, but I definitely define it as a cult these days, thanks to, Steve Hassan's work and Jan Jelalit and stuff. So, they kind of give us words and language around like what defines an actual cult.
Yeah.
So
thank God, because
right?
Thank God. It's so ingrained in us. I like to say thank fuck, because I'm non-religious and just fuck is a great word. It's just like,
there you go. It can define anything, really.
Thank fuck. And you guys, if you would like to hear more about Shelly's story, I interviewed her and her brother Jon Snow on Well, it was when we were doing YouTube live segments, and then I said video is a lot of work. And but they're still there. And I also did take that episode and pull the audio and put it up as a regular episode on the feed. So I will actually also repost that this week, or maybe just put it in the show notes. I don't know. Sometimes like I don't want to be annoying reposting things, but also sometimes if something was, 100 episodes ago or whatever, because I put so much shit out all the time.
Yes,
like
you do.
I want to make it easier for people to find. But either way, I will make that episode easy to find so you can hear her and John talk about their experience growing up in the independent fundamentalist Baptist movement. We also talked about the documentary Let Us Pray, which was really good, but just obviously a giant fucking bummer because like abuse of women and children is the name of the game in these groups. But, I do highly recommend the documentary. But if you want to hear me and Shelly and John laugh about all of the trauma, I think we cried a little too. Actually, I did cry. Fuck, I did cry. And I've done over 400 episodes and I've cried a handful of times. I'm very good at keeping like a pretty big distance and like be like, okay, we're gonna,
I'm glad we could shatter through all the episodes for you.
But, oh yeah, you guys got me. Fuck. But that was a really good episode. But today we are here to talk about your writing about your experience. Well, you've not only written this book that we're going to be talking about today that is coming out in April, which is The Cheating Wife.
Yeah.
But we are also, I think maybe, why don't we talk first a little bit real quickly about the books that you've already released?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So my first book is called Tracing Time, and it's the beginning of a trilogy. So it's a time travel love story. And then I published, a subsequent novel, the second and the third, from I think 2017 through 2020. I did my last, book of the trilogy launch day was like February of 2020, and then the world shut down.
Oh my gosh!
So, yeah.
You're like doing your book tour online.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I just didn't do anything, didn't have a book tour or anything. Excuse me. But then during the pandemic, I wrote a children's book called The Hug Who Had No Arms, just to kind of deal with like the strangeness of not being able to express love in the same way.
And that's a bestseller.
Yeah, it is.
So cute.
Yeah. And then this project I started writing in 20. Do you want me to like just start into this? The
yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But hold on. So you just went from like writing like romantic time travel novels to children's books to books about coercion and control and the patriarchy. You are just like a man, like fucking multifaceted. That's incredible. I'm just trying to like wrap my head around like just one of those. So you guys, all of your stuff is obviously available on Amazon, right?
Yeah, pretty much wherever books are sold. Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck Jeff Bezos, right? But it's like you can just find everything so easily on Amazon.
I know.
So it's like we'll tell people your website and put that in the show notes and everything too. And obviously you can go ahead and say that right now. I just want to say if you search Shelly-Snow-Pordea on Amazon, then you'll find all her stuff. So
that is correct. And if you just search it, I have a pretty unique name. So like if you just search it on Google, it'll take you to my website. It's just my name again, Shelly-Snow-Pordea. There you go. So perfect. However you want to buy it is fine with me. I have complicated feelings. It's like Amazon is the platform that does allow us as authors to like control our own art. But at the same time, Jeff Bezos owns the world. So like, how do I feel about that?
I know.
I don't know how, it's just rough.
I feel like there's a little bit of, depending on the level of evil, Like if you can't beat them, join them. Like, let's not join the patriarchy, but like let's not utilize Amazon as a platform to sell our shit, right? Because
I know,
unfortunately,
and that's the thing.
people use it, including me.
Including me, right? And that's the thing. Like, I have friends who have like products that they sell, and the only way that they can get to a wider audience is through Amazon. So like, without that, would they be able to like do their business? It's just,
Well, my partner has a board game, and
oh, that's right. Yes,
absolute majority of sales come through Amazon. Like, we got some through the website and everything, but if somebody's like, oh, I want to buy some mascara, they're like most likely going to go into their Amazon app before they run down to Target or whatever, just it's the we'll blame it on the pandemic and then move on back to your book.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm like going on a fucking Amazon tangent. That is so mean.
So you can get any books, like I said, on most platforms. It's, if you use Google, if you have an Android phone, you can get on Google Books, the ebook version. Walmart probably, I know they picked up the book, so like you can buy it from anywhere.
There's no excuses, you guys. It's everywhere. She's everywhere.
And this next book is going to be out too, so it'll be out April 24th. So whenever, the podcast comes out, before or after, it'll be probably available, if not now, soon. So I'm excited.
Shelly, please let me stop talking and tell us what's up with the Christian patriarchy, etc.
Yes. So the book is entitled The Cheating Wife. And so a little bit of my background is that I not only was born and raised in a cult, but I later worked for a mainstream, large, I don't know what the definition of megachurch is these days, but, in the thousands, evangelical church. And so I, quit that job once I became a full-time author. And I, have a lot of complicated feelings about the way people are treated within that system. And so I was taking a walk, and I witnessed graffiti on someone's property, and it said cheating wife in bright blue letters. And it was so jarring. We started a lot of conversations, with the family, with friends, and I just kept going back to the thought is she safe? That's a really abusive thing to do. And so I made up a story in my head as if it's the modern day Scarlet Letter of she's probably been in an abusive relationship for years. I mean, again, this is conjecture. This is a novel. Right. But I used my experience of, listening to the patriarchy, people in positions of authority in churches who treat women so differently than if a man were to ever, so what if she did have an affair? Let's just say she did.
Right.
Does that give anybody the right to brandish her with this, in this situation, cobalt blue letters? No, it doesn't. That is just wrong. And I feel like we haven't moved past it as a society. This is not the 1800s, and yet we modernize the way that we treat women.
It gives very fucking Scarlet Letter vibes.
Right.
Because it's not just cheater or bitch. It's cheating wife. Are you gonna stone her to death after you fucking wrote that?
Right? What was the point? And who was this? And so, in the story, it was the husband. That's no spoiler. It's in the first chapter.
Well, in the story that I quickly wrote in my head, it was definitely the husband who
wrote
that. Yeah.
But so it really made me think about a lot of things, and truly that's all I want to do with the story, with the book, is to help people think of their position in this society. I don't imagine that I'm going to change a society with this book, right? However, I do think that we can think about what our position is in this machine, and how we can be better. I'm not asking anybody to abandon their faith or to stop, their rituals or anything like that. But I am asking you to stop and think about how real people are treated within this system. I would love to see the patriarchy abolished, sure. But the book is hopefully a conversation starter. That's my goal.
Well, I love that because I think, unfortunately, with, what we've seen, people have become so polarized in their opinions that it's very hard to get anybody to change their mind. So I think having a goal in mind of toppling the patriarchy or stopping, fundamentalist Christianity or whatever is like, I could try for the rest of my life and like be the smartest person ever probably, and like still it's just a big machine to go up against.
Right.
So I think just that, like, hey, let's just like crack open the door a little bit and like just have a little bit of a conversation of like, so like, what if your wife cheated? Like, would your reaction to be to like talk to her, to fucking spray paint some shit? And if it's just spray paint, why? Is it because you were told from the time that you were a child by your pastor that you had a dick that was just raging out of control as well as your emotions, and therefore like that's your only fucking choice? You're like stuck in narcissistic bounded choice. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So I think, because I'm going to do an episode about Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation. I'm sure you're familiar with all that. Mm-hmm. And like, am I going to change anybody's mind who's already hardcore like on that side? No, definitely not. But are there listeners of mine who don't know exactly what's going on and know just how much of a long game is being played and what's at stake, and who maybe thought, I'm not going to go vote because both candidates suck? And then you guys, I highly encourage you to go rewatch the episode from South Park where he has to vote between a turd sandwich and a giant douche. And it's the best lesson about voting ever. It's like they're always bad. They're just pick the lesser of two evil. So I'm going to do an episode about that just so I can say like, hey, at least, like now right?
Now And I think that it's just one pebble, right, along the way, that because I was born and raised in a culture that taught me to believe and think certain things, and I don't believe those things anymore. I don't think that way anymore, even though some of the, deprogramming is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
But, so I'm not saying that it can't change somebody's mind, but it's kind of like you stack up all of this evidence to get to the greater good. And whatever that change is, in your mind doesn't have to be drastic. But I think that it does have an effect. So that's why the work that you're doing is important, right? I feel like that's why the work that I'm doing is important. These stories, if we keep not saying them, then the people with the power and the platforms, with the thousands of followers, they win.
Well, they're yelling all fucking day.
Right.
They will not, like, none of them are shutting the fuck up about anything anytime soon. Right. So we have to yell too.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. Exactly. And so, like, did you bring a lot of your own experiences into writing The Cheating Wife?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for the record, when
tea time.
So when we saw that, my husband witnessed this as well. And so I went to him like probably 2 weeks later, and I was like, I have this idea. I really think that this is my next project. This is what I want to do. And he's like, oh, that's amazing. Which, a little history, my husband loves to give me recommendations in my fiction. And most of the time I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I'm the writer. That is not a plot twist. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't need ideas. Thank you. Like, actually, mine are all fire. I'm just kidding. Somebody left a review recently saying that they stopped listening because I became too full of myself. And I was like, do they like take my comments about
seriously?
My shit being super fire or whatever. Like, are they like, this fucking stuck up whore? She just really thinks everything she does is amazing. It's like, you know what? Why don't you join me in therapy? Okay. Because girl, we still talking about how I'm not good enough every week somehow, like 3 years later. So take your comment about me being full of, this was like a week ago. And so that just shows you that people are, you guys, if you go leave Shelly a book review and be fucking nice. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't leave her a review.
I know, that's what I usually ask. Yeah, I'm just like, leave an honest review unless you didn't like it, and then maybe skip that part. That's what I always say. Like, if you didn't like it, just skip the review.
Yeah, then just, have a great day.
It was obviously not for you, and that's fine. My work cannot be for everybody. I learned that a long time ago. But yeah, so my husband gives me these ideas, right, all the time, and I'm usually like, oh, please. But he was so helpful in this book, and because we have the same, experience, and he did not grow up in the cult or anything. But anyway, so he was just like, I have one request. I would like it if you put written by or just by Shelly-Snow-Pordea, because on all your other books, it just has the title and then your name. And if we have the cheating wife, Shelly-Snow-Pordea, then everyone is just going to assume
it's you.
I'm like, oh, that's fair. I can do that. So yeah, this book has by Shelly-Snow-Pordea on the bottom. But anyway.
Which is like a thing that you wouldn't think that you'd have to be careful about, but you would.
Well, I mean, I think as, a husband, that's what the first thing that came to his mind.
Was there a colon right after the cheating wife?
Yeah, the cheating wife, colon, Shelly-Snow-Pordea.
Shelly-Snow-Pordea.
So yeah, for the record, it's not a,
So it's a fictional story.
Yes.
But you did use your own life experience too.
Sure. Yes. Well, because so many of the conversations that are kind of baked into the manuscript are my literal memories of things either that I have experienced, that women in my life have experienced, specifically, so the church kind of does play a character in the book, and there
is it the IFB or is it a more?
No. It's like a mega church that that the circumstances are in. But, when she reaches out for help and those conversations happen within, the people of the church, I took them directly from working in a church and seeing the pastors talk about someone that they counseled and just spilling the tea among the staff and having a real issue with all of this happening. And so it's I go to Pastor McGregor and tell him I fucked up, I cheated on my husband, and then he goes and tells the whole goddamn staff of the church that I did that. In my experience, yeah, that happened more than once. Yeah, for sure. So, and I don't think it's an uncommon thing, because, people in that world are, with each other at, different conferences and events and things like that. And it just seemed like a common practice of it's okay for us to pray for this person, and this is what they are going through and dealing with, and can you believe? And there's just such a separation from, the staff hallway to the congregants that so many people don't understand or realize. And I'm not trying to be everyone should hate these people. They shouldn't, because I have a beautiful character in the book. Her name is Jenny, and she's the best church lady ever, because that's why I'm so passionate about these stories, right? They're such good people I love and care about, and they also are in this system and they're good. And that's the point. Be better, be like these good people within it, and go against the system, help the people who are in need. Because it's not all doom and gloom, right? It's not all rejection and judgment and scarlet letter wearing. But too much of it is, in my opinion. Yeah,
that's so interesting what you say about, from the halls to behind the staff doors, because I think that is kind of what you will find with any kind of coercive group, is that on the outside. It's I make this reference often, like maybe somebody went to a Nexium and or Scientology course at the very bottom level. It was just like about fucking how to communicate better in your marriage or something.
Yeah.
And they just did that one course and like they picked up some hot tips and like they were out. And like sometimes if you don't get too deep in the sauce, like you never really see the nefariousness, or you never thank fuck you don't have to experience it because you don't get deep enough in. But it's usually, and that's so much of like what Yanya Lala talks about with like moral injury comes with when you get deeper in, because then when you're a part of the staff, all of a sudden like you're a part of the group that is behaving, somewhat abusively towards like the members by just like talking about their experiences, like without their, when they think they went to a safe person to do so or whatever.
Yes. And I think I have a little section in the book where it just kind of highlights the expectation of the people who are in these roles, of a person of confidence with little to no training required by any type of oversight. There is no such thing. Like as a therapist, you have to have a license. You have to be verified by the state. As a counselor in a church, you don't have any oversight. And so when a person comes to you, there's probably an assumption of confidentiality and some sort of training, but there is no requirement. I'm not saying that there isn't, because there are churches who do practice that, the counselors are trained and whatnot, but there is an assumption that they are, and most of the time in my experience, they are not, with very little to no training, and most of the time at the volunteer level without any type of compensation. Like, so you're expected to do all this stuff, but you're not paid for any of it, and you're not educated to do it. So it's, these are the questions I want to raise a little bit. Like, what are we doing? Why haven't we been better? Like, I'm not saying that the structure of it isn't good. Like, I would love to have people go to counseling and get real legitimate help. But when they're receiving a pseudo type counsel, it's like you said, go to a surface level Scientology class, because you're going to get about the same thing. Like, there's no oversight whatsoever. And yeah, that's to me a little problematic. And at least if you know that, then you can go into it that way, like as a parishioner, right? If I know that these things are true, then I can go into it with my eyes open. But most of the time, that is not the case. Oh, and so it's frustrating. Yeah,
I have a very good friend who she was attending an evangelical megachurch for years. I'm not exactly sure where she is on her journey with that. I know that they started kind of more openly expressing homophobic views, which did not align with her values. And I know that she's really been struggling with that. So I think it is so important to remember, it's like, oh, well, not all Christians. It's like, yeah, you guys, of course, not all Christians.
Yeah, of course.
Fucking course. There are lots of good Christians and fucking Muslims and atheists and all kinds of people who like want to be nice to their fucking neighbors and like just do good and be good people. But also, like, we should all be informed about what we're going into.
Yeah.
Like any situation you go into, we should be informed. So it's like, maybe you just really fucking like that mega church and you like the pastor and you dig your community there or whatever. But like, at least know that if you have some fucking counseling issues, you've looked into their policies and their people don't require training or whatever. So maybe fucking use your health insurance to talk to a person who went to school.
Yeah. And in fairness, like one of the church that I worked for, they did have a staff or person who used like the church facilities to have her office. So she was a licensed therapist. But there's a pay barrier, like there is for anything, between that and like the person who can be like, or you can go to Pastor Jeff, There was no Pastor Jeff, by the way, so that's just a made-up name.
That makes
right?
Do you know about Josh Howerton?
Josh Howard. Why does that name sound really familiar?
Oh, because he's been trending recently because he said at a SBC is Southern Baptist Convention,
okay, that's probably
right?
Why? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was like, ladies. Oh my God. Okay. He was doing the like, I'm a mega pastor, but also a stand-up comedian thing. And I'm going to make a hilarious joke about marital rape.
Yes.
Ladies, when you get to his wedding night.
Yes.
It's his wedding night. And then it's like, stand where he wants, do what he wants, say what he says. It's hardcore.
And that's why this story for me, and again, like this is not, the church plays a character, a side character. This story is about a woman, Morgan, who is confronted with real abuse, but she's not backed up by her community, right? And that's the point. The pastors today are still saying those same exact things. They are putting the onus on the woman for the man's fidelity, and if, God forbid, she has sexual desires, strays, does whatever, she is completely maligned. People break friendships,
but not if you're a man, because it's
not
built
if you're
in.
a man, but if you're the woman,
right?
And there's even a suspicion that you have engaged in, unapproved activities. Let's say it doesn't even have to be sex. It can just be that they are having an emotional affair, as they would call it, right? With somebody else. Oh, you're out. Like, you are you have to wear the scarlet letter, basically. It's
you're lusting.
It's infuriating. It's so, and that's why, the patriarchy sucks. And it also sucks for men, let me just say. I have 2 boys.
Yeah, no, I think this is actually a great point to bring up.
Yes, because my sons are 24 and 22 years old. And though we raised them in, partially in some thinking that I don't agree with now, we really tried to have the idea for them that they're held to a standard to where they have body autonomy and everyone else around them does as well. They are not just relegated to their urges. No one would expect them to not be able to control themselves around a naked woman. The idea of a pastor standing in front of a congregation and saying that, right? Women, stand where he wants, give her what he wants, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's the same. I can equate it to you saying, boys, I know that you've done absolutely everything to control your animalistic tendencies and nature. You haven't abused a woman. You haven't taken advantage of her yet. But tonight's your night. You get what you want. He could have said those exact words because that's literally what he was saying behind them. Right? Yeah. It's the same message.
Tonight's your night. Tonight is your night. Ladies, when you get to his night.
Right.
No, it's why instill that belief into people, though.
It's gross.
It's because there's the whole you're born a sinner. And then for boys, it's this especially confusing message that you're born a sinner and that's not okay. So you have to repent. But you also have these crazy sinful things inside of you that you just can't help.
You can't help it.
So
the girls are responsible for you helping it.
Right. That's not you sinning inside. It's them being whores. It's just what?
Yeah.
Where did this come from? And why? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. And
it sets everybody up badly.
Everyone. And that's really the point. And that's why I love, just my husband and his role in this, it has been just beautiful, his support, because he wasn't raised this way. He's European. So he was born and raised in Europe. And, sexuality, nudity is just, it's viewed very differently. Like when...
Is he did he grow up kind of atheist as well?
No,
Oh, okay.
actually, he's from Romania, and so the national religion is Greek Orthodox. And though his dad was Greek Orthodox, but his mother was Baptist. So he grew up with both influences, but mostly he would go to the Baptist church. It's not the same as it is here. I think a lot of the doctrines are, similar, the same, but the culture is much different.
Right.
Much different. So, we grew up, my boys, because we raised them over there. I have a daughter too, so I don't want to exclude her. But we grew up taking our kids, to the park, and women would sunbathe in the park, and they would take off their top, and so it's not like.
Did you yell whore at them?
No.
And, throw pig's blood or anything? No?
I mean, if it makes you uncomfortable, fine, walk away, But they, and we would. I would not, just subject my boys to the nudity all the time. I would try to find, a spot or whatever. But at the same time, I didn't make this, huge deal of the matter, and neither did the culture that they were in. And
right.
So it doesn't have to be the way that it is in America, is what I'm saying. It just, there is, a different mentality. And like I said, my husband throughout this has just been a really big support. In fact, I did take his advice on the ending when he told me, he's like, well, what if Morgan, and I won't spoil it.
I was like, wait.
No. I won't spoil it. And I was just like, oh, yes, that is what will happen at the end.
I love that you're giving him credit too. Do you have a hard time giving him credit?
No, not at all.
Okay, no, because I'm the same. I don't like taking ideas, but if my partner gives me a really good one, I will tell everybody. So you guys, my partner came up with this idea, because if I hear him saying some shit with the board game and this, and I'm like, hi. That was my idea.
That was mine. Yes, I do. He's
the same why
thing.
Are you so weird about credit? I'm like, I don't. Probably trauma. I don't know.
I know,
but just
me too.
Listen, that
crap.
was my fucking idea. Okay.
I'm the same way. Who knows? I'll have to go into therapy or something.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know, but I'm the same way. It's like,
that,
hey.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm huge on attribution too. I have to look it up.
I would maybe fucking put that off to the patriarchy too. So you're not going to take my idea. Get out of here. Okay. No, he's great. But my partner is Danish, and they are 80% atheist over there or something.
Oh, interesting.
It's crazy.
Wow.
A lot of them actually do go to church for baptisms or some shit. But when you poll, people go just for tradition, not because actually of belief in religion. The Danish are just really big on tradition. Yeah. So they'll do some church shit because it's just because it's just what you do,
That's what you do.
It's what we've done and it's what we do. But they're not a religious country at all. So then I didn't grow up with any religion either. So it's very interesting. My partner and I have both grown up with no religion our whole lives. So
interesting. Yeah. And you grew up in America.
Yeah, which is I don't know how I escaped it, although I broke it down and I was in AA for 4 years, and that is a Christian cult. So I was like, I escaped it, and I didn't. But I wanted to know if it impacted you in a positive or negative way, having to write about this, even though it was a fictional story. Obviously you drew from a lot of your own experience. So was that healing, or did you find that you had to take breaks to,
Yes, I think this happened in 2021. No, it was early 2022. And I started writing just a few months after the event, maybe 2-3 months. And I had to walk away for a while because I realized, let me answer your question in the way you asked it. So yes, it's always healing for me to write. That is how I process In fact, my first novel was started when my dad suddenly passed away. And I needed to process emotions, right?
Yeah.
And this, was very jarring. And I went into it, started writing, and then I knew I had to walk away and get more therapy, to be like truly honestly.
Yeah.
Because they say to write from the scar, not the wound, because you'll be too in the weeds when you, feel that open wound all the time. For me, I don't know what it's like to exist without this trauma, right? Like, I was born and raised in a cult and with some very strict dogmatic thinking. So I don't know if I know what it looks like to write from scars and not from wounds, because I still feel angry about things. But I also have learned in therapy that anger is a proper response to children being abused, to women being taken advantage of, to the patriarchy hurting both men, women, and all society, right? Like, that is a proper response. And so I feel like I had to step away and understand where to filter my anger, or like put it into the story. The end of the story I wrote, I actually sent to her without the last 2 chapters. I had gone so deep into some of the like hurt and the reality of what I have seen other women experience in abusive relationships. And I understood that I could not keep myself, much less my readers, there for so long. And so I had to figure out a way to rewrite that and touch on the depth of the abuse without keeping us just in the muck for so long. So yeah, it takes me understanding myself to be able to say what I mean to say. It takes also a very good editor.
To say, I think what you mean to say here was this. And you're like, that is, yes.
Oh, they're the best people in the world. But yeah, so it's very much a combination of all of that for my healing, and then for my own understanding. I also kind of write my little idiosyncrasies into different characters, like little things that annoy me or little like quirks that I have or do, because I love, one of my favorite things is to go to like a book club and have them psychoanalyze the characters, because hey, that's me.
So like, so Jenny is a real bitch. She's got some problems. And you're like, you're a bitch.
Say more about that.
Well, maybe we actually had a long time book club in the Patreon for like a year and a half. And it was amazing. And, it never grew past like half a dozen people, but the half a dozen that filtered in and out were incredible. But I decided to make it more of like a less prep work intensive hang monthly for the patrons. So maybe we watch a movie together or something. So are there any pieces of advice or, words of encouragement that you'd like to give to anybody who's maybe currently, like struggling in their church with feeling torn between maybe not liking some of the more, like maybe some people who are, struggling with loving their faith and also having some disagreements with it?
The struggle is real. So it's okay. I feel like, and it's always, if there's no risk of leaving, then staying is an option, in my opinion. To ask questions and be met with kindness and openness, and even an I don't know. That's huge for me. It's okay to stay and it's okay to go is all I can say. you know? Like it's really a personal journey. Sometimes the benefits outweigh the negative. Because I know, people have children and churches have amazing activities and rituals are great. And if you can find that without the dogma, then amazing. Like, great. That's good for you.
Yeah.
And if you can ask those questions, but if you can't, it's all right to find a place where you can.
Because not all churches and not all pastors and not all Christians, right? I mean, that is the truth.
It is actually true. And when people use that as like an argument, that to me is not actually enough.
No, it's an annoying argument, but it is true.
But
it's true. So
it doesn't feel true for some people within it, though. And I do understand that, right? And you might be hard pressed. Like, I have a friend who is a lesbian, and she's married. She's been married for like 20 years. And she goes to an evangelical church that does not support her marriage. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, it's so hard for me when we talk about it sometimes, because I'm just like, I want to puke for her.
Yeah.
But for her, she, like, the pastor knows, a few of the leaders know, she does not flaunt it everywhere. But, like, come on. Like, I would not have ever thought that she was anything but, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people accept her. She feels accepted. She loves the music. And it's her choice. She believes that the benefits for her life outweigh the negative of, if most people in the church knew, they would not be okay with her. And that's her choice. And I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, right? It's like, that's your life. If you're cool with it, then I totally support your decision. But not everybody has that, you know? So
yeah,
it's really so personal, and it's okay to feel the way you feel, is all I have to say. Because so often I would be sitting in a pew or chair that's, more popular these days. And I would be thinking, I'm not safe here, I'm not safe here, I'm not safe here. And if that's the way you feel, then you can leave. And you can find a place you're safe. There's no reason that you should feel anxiety or unsafe in that spot, because I'm sure that there is one that exists somewhere for you. And it's not easy, but
I think a lot of coercive groups say, no fucking secular music or TV or no this. It's right out of Stephen Hassan's BITE model. Yeah. Behavior or control over behavior, information, emotions, and thoughts. So if you're in a group where you're not allowed to ask these questions, and like Shelly said, you feel scared, like, that's what we're saying is not okay. Like, you can be a part of whatever group you want. Like, in my opinion, as long as you're not hurting people, that's when I'm like, hey, stop it. But
exactly,
I think just for like everyone's own personal journey, just, like figuring out how you feel about the situation that you're in. And if you're okay with that, then like, who are we to say to somebody who says, I understand the negatives, but the benefits outweigh that more. I just think, it's good to be able to ask questions and express your thoughts and feelings, and to feel safe to do so. And if you're not in a community that supports that, that's not like a you problem. That's not your fault. There's not anything wrong with you. And it's okay to ask, why do I not feel good and safe in my chosen community?
And it's okay to learn more. Like, the more I've learned about the actual Bible, the translations of it, the way that it came about, and all the things, the more I understand that the dogma that keeps, like, my friend, for example, in a place where she loves the community, she loves the music, she loves all this stuff, but she doesn't feel fully accepted. Like, that dogma was actually fabricated. It's not really.
Yeah.
If you're going to take the Bible as like something that you're going to live your life by, then actually find out about what the meanings were of the time. Like, so many scholars will tell you, will teach through that, of like, that's not what it actually means. That's what we've made it to mean. And there's always going to be an interpretation factor, of course. But then that's how cults are born, right? If I'm going to, just make that interpretation mean what I want it to mean.
And then that's fact.
Yeah, then that's fact. Like, bro, we got to ask the questions. We have to ask the questions. Yeah.
I think when somebody says, Jesus came and said to me, the first thing that should be done is like get a psych check done. And then maybe see if he's a prophet, but like everybody out there willy-nilly, I'm Jesus. No, I am. It's like, all right. I'm guessing that the majority of you just have like some sort of mental thing because not all of y'all are Jesus. If your group is like open to you exploring other information and asking questions, then I think that's like a great thing. And, I think people get a ton of benefits out of being a part of church communities. Often that's why they are, right? They dig the music, they have the community, they like the message, whatever. It's people get something out of it. But just when you're getting barked at and being told you're bad and you're not allowed to ask questions.
Yes, and maintain a different opinion.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're asking the question, because I often hear this, statement from mostly evangelical leaders, right? It's like, we want you to ask all of your questions. Come in and we will answer them. That's fine and dandy. But if I ask the questions and just arrive at a different conclusion on some of these things, is that okay? Like, if that's not okay, right?
No, Shelly, I give you the answer. So,
yes.
No more questions.
And so that's exactly. I mean, that's how so many people feel, though, really. But there are places that exist where, yeah, we can agree to disagree. And that I feel like we need so much of that in our society. Everything is polarized, it feels like. Everything's politicized. And it's like we have just fallen into this trap of it has to be true this way or true that way, when I'm saying, like, remember the days when both things could be true, many things could be true.
I don't know if anybody actually knew those days were always real, but they always have been, and they're here. Yeah. It's very exciting. You guys, she's absolutely right. Like, two seemingly opposing things can totally exist at once. It's really crazy, but I swear she's on it. Well, Shelly, thank you so much for coming to talk to me again. This was amazing. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would like to?
I mean, not really. No, I don't think so. This is just fun to chat about, the book and the ideas of Down with the Patriarchy. So, yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, you guys, again, that is called The Cheating Wife, and it's coming out on April 24th, 2024. Just Google Shelly-Snow-Pordea, Pordea, and you will find all of her things, her fucking time-traveling romance novels and her children's books and her fictional but life-inspired, coercive, so much good stuff. You guys get out there. And Shelly, you are on Instagram?
I am. Yep.
Is that your most active social media place? Me too.
Yes. My son told me that I need to learn how to use TikTok.
I refuse.
Me too.
Let's refuse together. I will stand in solidarity with you. I have an account.
Me too.
But I will not put things on it.
Well, I actually have. Like, I just will repurpose my Instagram, whatever. He's like, Mom, that's not the way TikTok works.
Well, maybe tell him if he wants to take over managing your TikTok account and editing the videos for you. Because I've looked at that video editor and I'm not even what the fuck, dude? Everybody out here is literally just becoming video editors as it's insane to me because I'm in a somewhat technological field, and the fact that everybody and their fucking mom just picked up legit like video editing as a side hobby is insane to me. It's not like a simple system. I've looked at it.
Thank you. I'm so glad you say this.
I am so with you. So we're both on Instagram.
Instagram's great, guys.
That's where you can find us. Shelly-Snow-Pordea.
Correct.
TSFU the podcast for me. Like, keep it easy. You got to make yourself findable. Yeah. But you guys probably know where to find me. So go find Shelly. Again, thank you, Shelly, for being here. And listeners, thank you for listening. As always, hope you enjoyed our new the awesome author segment. I don't know. But you guys, we also soon have Kate West coming on. She'll be talking about the Christian patriarchy. We love to talk about the Christian patriarchy. We don't love it. We love to talk about trying to take it down. And speaking of you and Kate West, who are both survivors of the Christian patriarchy, if you or anyone you know are struggling with, spiritual abuse or religious trauma or anything like that, I highly suggest you guys go to TSFUInterviewsEden.org. Also, you can find Uncertain Podcast on Instagram. And Catherine Spearing. Catherine Spearing is the founder of Tears of Org. She's the founder of that. They help survivors of spiritual abuse, and it's an amazing community of people who are, still involved in their faiths. Those who have deconstructed. They have support groups online and all kinds of good information. So if you are part of the 80% of Americans who are involved in Christianity in some way and you've been hurt, there are fucking people, you guys. You're not alone, okay? There's so many people. Or even if you just have somebody who you know that's in a group that you think seems kind of sketchy or dangerous, it's the best thing that advocates can do is to educate themselves on how to approach people, which is not saying, oh my God, you're in a fucking cult, come with me now, which is what I always want to do. And that's actually really doesn't work, you guys.
It's the worst thing to do. It's what they say.
1,000% the opposite of what you should do. So educate yourselves on what you should do, and maybe you can help a friend.
Yeah, and I know that there is sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
There's a support group that is opening up soon, and there is a waiting list. So if you want to get in on those support groups with Tears of Eden, just make sure that you contact them. And Kate and I are actually on the editorial board for Tears of Eden together. So Catherine told us last week that she's got a waiting list. So you need to get on it if you want to be part of it. So.
Well, like Shelly said, it's a long waiting list. So if you want to get in on those support groups, sign up now. TSFUInterviewsEden.org, also Uncertain Podcast and Catherine Spearing on Instagram. And please, like I said, check out Shelly's book on the 24th when it comes out. In the meantime, if this comes out before then go check out her other ones. And we'll see you next time on the Awesome Author Corner. That's what we're going for now. Edition 1. Okay, bye. Say bye, Shelly.
Bye. Oh, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bum 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 bum. That's fucked up. So fucked up. Can't you see? It's just really fucked. That's fucked up.